Good morning, everybody. I'm Saladin in Strips. Uh, good morning, everyone. I'm Saladin in Scripts. What the fuck is going on? Uh, Anywho, we're going to be working on more Prisca Tenebra. And just to get the ads to shut up, anywho, let's get some water. Hail hydration. Okay, so first things first is I need to figure out how to get to this node from any door within a scene. Which, after a quick search, says I should get use get and root. So let's get to that. Then let's try things out. And in base window. What? Ah, well, that's not expected. In base window. Weird. Did it change? Hmm. Do I need to do not get child as well? I guess let's try that again. Also, I should get the sprint to actually speed things up. Feels faster. What the fuck? That's weird. Well, let's get to the scene manager and swap screen. Oh, it would help if I put the scene in the scene holder. Okay. Also, just to make the debug quicker, I'm just gonna move this right here. Hmm. About one. Wait a second. The animation player is messing with the wrong thing. I guess. Ready. Uh, Alright. For some reason, it just wants to pick this. And I don't understand why. Mm, Just try swapping that into there. I like to use camel case. Let's give this a try. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Node name. Steve. Let's give it out to Steve. Anywho. And then I'll just use print dot food. I'm just using this to see if it's even getting the right node. Yeah, it's getting the right node. Okay. So this is okay. This should work. However, the problem is with this. Let's try this. What broke this time? Excuse me? Why are you getting the level manager? Wait. Is it because I was using the wrong scene? Yeah, still going to shit. Okay. And apparently this does not have the level managers for script. Which is very useful for certain things, like loading the data. Oh, it's trying to find these, and it just doesn't have them, so it just doesn't find them. Hi, DirectExe. Have you been to school for computer science? Actually, I have not, but I have been to school for systems engineering. Alright, let's see. What is DSA? Uh, yes. Data structures and algorithms. Okay. I actually learned some data structure stuff from actually coding on stream. I had a pretty useful, well, a pretty helpful viewer or teach me some good programming tips. Anywho, what's the problem that you run into most when you're handling data structures? I'm gonna snooze that ad. Alright. Hmm. Also, I wonder why the animator just isn't playing the animation it's supposed to. It has the two animations. Alright. Alright, you took a class on computer architecture as a major requirement, and I had to write the cache lookup procedure. Read this on the list while ink the table and cash on my forearm. Hmm. Well, if you remember it word for word, it makes it a lot easier to just type it out. But I can understand the sentiment. A lot of times I've been thinking about making what I call my coding grimoire, which is just going to be a book of all the different little thingamajigs. Yeah. Google was your friend until they implemented AI. Then they messed up all the search outputs. Anywho. Actually, one moment. Interviews. Alrighty. Well, when it comes to interviews, is if you know the stuff off the top of your head, it's that alone will be a really good bargaining chip. Hmm. But yeah, when it comes to interviews, I'm mostly not the most confident. I think everyone has worries when it comes to interviews. Mm. For a game in class. All right. So when it comes to the C++ stuff, I recommend learning how to deal with classes, like the data structure. Mm. Hate to expel people. Well, I know that one thing that would help with like the fast-paced nature is designing a scalable code base that you can just copy and paste and then modify as you need for different things. Or literally like having like a little notebook just filled out with different coding snippets to achieve different results. You know what? I'm going to just comment all this out. Just have it do the one thing. Okay. And telling it to do the one thing, it doesn't do the one thing. Wait a second. Of course it's not going to do the one thing, because the one thing is hidden. Alright, that works better. And let's make sure that the whole thingamajig works. Alright, the transition works. So now I just need to make sure that the uh, new scene edition works. Actually, wait. Get child 0 dot. I think that's the right thing. Hmm. Let's see how this does. Okay, so child 0 is scene 1. Alright, let's see. After I add the new child, does it still remain scene 1? Yes. What the fuck? I see what's going on now. Dagnabbit. Okay. OBS is having issues. Is my internet going to shit? Network error. No. What do you mean I'm disconnected? Alright. Let's see if things are back online or not. Okay, are we back? Okay, it looks like we're back. Alright, so back to the messages. I just had a bit of an internet disruption there. Uh, I feel like someone would would hear everything I tell them, and then they'd be like, "Oh, gee, why did you even come to university?" And I'm over here like, "I know that I suck at data structures right now, and everything I've done is technically but really I don't have another 4,000 in my pocket and another year to waste in college." It's college right before the pandemic. First of all, you started college right at the most one of the most difficult times for college. Two, learning is hard. Just straight up, learning is hard. There's so much discomfort mentally that comes with learning because you're just like, ah. But a big part of learning to learn is sitting with that discomfort. And as for the question of being fundamentally flawed, I don't think so. The content's hard. It's a really technical and chewy topic in general. And, well, some people are just more uh, naturally inclined for technical stuff, and others are more naturally inclined for creative stuff. The hard part about this is both. Uh, yeah. I think the first question is identifying what is the specific item, like what is the specific thing that is causing the issue with uh, the coding. Okay, that's pretty cool. I've never been able to. Well, I haven't gotten around to learning how to mod games. Actually, I've only modded one game, and that's Vintage Story. But that's just a change of recipe. Okay, now it's selecting the right scene. Now let's obliterate that scene. Wait, but I'm obliterating the wrong scene. Okay. So when I walk into this, it should get rid of the old scene. Okay, why wasn't it doing that before? Uh, hmm. Okay, then I can walk into this. I'll go into the test level. Oh shit. Alright, you know how polymorphism works, and how vtables and virtual keyboard would. I know how the rule of 4-6. I have to write a deconstructor for linked list. I like your funny words, Magic Man. Honestly, I don't understand what any of those are at the moment. So you're already further along when it comes to that. Hmm. Oh, you're probably building the stuff that actually does all the stuff that I take for granted in this. Like coding this actual structure that that Q free does. Yeah, that's a definitely a nice. That's a lot crunchier topic. Hmm. Have you looked in the textbook for any answers? Oh, I bet. There's the identifying what the hell it's deleting, dealing with all the memory stuff. Uh, uh, hmm. Actually, the technique that I use for figuring out how to make a thing of code might help you out a bit. So when I'm dealing with a more difficult piece of like a more difficult function, I like to write out in a high level what I'm trying to do and then try and translate that to the lower level because programming is just translating English, well, translating your native language into computer language. How do I manipulate this data structure to behave the way I like? I like to use something called a flowchart. It's like they identify what the flow like. Let's like try identifying what the unit test is trying to test, and then figure out what's needed for that. Sometimes you just gotta work backwards. Yeah. Also, I know that if someone tries to use AI for that type stuff, it'll usually end up uh, subverting the problem entirely and just be like, oh, unit test in, take these inputs, give the exact output of the unit test out, and just and that just cheats the whole thing, which passes the unit test, but doesn't pass the actual goal. Also, AI is so rough right now because it's like, oh yes, uh, let's put all our money into code like AI, and then oh shit, we have a $5 million bill for our tokens, and now we have to lay people off for the to pay for the AI bill to reduce the payroll. But yeah. Hmm. So I fixed the thing that I wanted to fix yesterday. I did want to fix it. uh, okay. So in that situation, the best thing you can say is, uh, I remembered at 3 a.m. But okay, how I did that so well, but struggled on the memory management work, struggling to do the dot product with SIMD in class. Hmm. It sounds like what you need is comments in your code. Actually, does AI use code? Alright, I do try and. Hmm. People say it's bad practice and bloats the file size. Hmm. Well, on one side, like, So there's a benefit and a drawback for comments in code. The benefit is if you make it at 3 a.m. while you're on 3 cups of espresso and only you and God know how the code work, and then when you wake up the next day, only God knows. Comments are very useful in that situation because then you can refamiliarize yourself with what's going on. Feel free to quote me on that. The downside is a bit more file size. There's also the benefit of if you're sharing the code with other people and they also need to work on it, they can identify, oh, this is what's going on here. However, there's a step above code comments, and we have to write code on paper. Ooh, all right, yeah. Yeah, my recommendation is learning how to work flowcharts. Flowcharts are your friend because they tell you exactly what needs to happen, and you can just translate that into actual code once if you understand the syntax. However, I understand that that also takes time. Hmm. Hmm. Having to switch specializations and warning the person I could have been. Hmm. Honestly, sometimes I wonder what my life would be like right now if I went for medicine instead of engineering. Honestly, I just need to bury that self. Just dig a grave and just toss it in. Fill the grave, pay respects, and let it be. But yeah. Hmm. Yeah, robots and stuff are fun, like can be fun. Actually, uh, I need to update my checklist. Wait, have I? We finished all the things I was going for today. Feeling the existential dread of being an average person in America who is working just not to drown and die. Seeing people who are stuck in a loop and want to have control over my destiny. That is a very real fear. Oh, Lord. Oh. Yeah, that one hits hard. That hits hard. Oh, yeah. I should go to my test scenes. Closed. And turn off the autoplay for now. Alrighty. That's the scene manager. Oh. Yeah. When it comes to the wanting to control my own destiny thing, every once in a while, I think about getting a box truck, modifying it so that it's effectively an RV, then fucking off to like Colorado or some shit. I'm just trying to earn enough money so that my investments can be take care of my base level needs, and I just don't have to worry about the bullshit anymore. But anywho, damn it. Trying to update my checkboxes or my to-do list. Oh, I still need to handle the data transfer of character stuff. Alrighty. Actually, direct. Have you checked out Dr. K? How do I do a shout out? Actually, hold on a moment. Let me find their channel. Alright. That's the title. I may be having a quarter-life crisis, but why now at the most crucial point in my academic career? Genuinely scared every day, single day I wake up. Do you think I hit the point where most people quit? You know, life is filled with problems. No matter what decision you make, there's going to be problems. So, at that point, it's just deciding what problems are right for you. That's the big thing about it. It's like, what are the problems you want to have? And what do you have to get and do to get those problems? Or what's some problems that you have right now? And what's a thing that you can do to exchange those problems for different problems that you prefer? Even if it's like a small step. I know that in so I know that in my last couple of years of college, I was starting to struggle quite a bit. I think the big thing is I think you need at least a C in a main subject class to pass. If it's an elective, D's are fine. But main study class, you gotta get at least a C. Ooh. Actually, what's your grade in the class, if you don't mind me asking? Actually, if I remember correctly, most colleges do have counselors that are free, like free counseling. Okay. Hmm. Those general counselors would tell me to switch specializations just so I can graduate on time. Ah, it must be a pretty hard class. Then again, colleges are incentivized to make their classes very difficult. So, like, especially more established colleges. because that increases their profit margin by having the same student like retake classes. They get extra money from those students. But yeah, it might be worth also talking with uh your classmates to see like who has skills on different things that you don't have, and then try and do like a little study group type thing. But then again, the finals on Thursday. Honestly, the best thing you could probably be doing right now is just practice writing code and then identify how you wrote the code, or even going over like example problems in the textbook and stuff like that. Actually, we are on the course, but I have responsibilities on. And my mom is mostly tech illiterate. Hmm. Yeah, that is rough. Would you be able to ask your mom to help with your grandparents while you focus for this week? Basically, be like, I'll be able to resume my previous response, like my current responsibilities on Friday. That way, that you can focus more on your classes and then also have those goals met in the meantime during that time period. Also, 6 to 8 hours a day on one course. That is brutal. Hmm. All right. Oh yeah, I still need to handle the data transfer. Oh yeah, I also need to add saving for the different dialogue stuff. Yeah, nothing in here actually changes that. For a second, I was wondering, why does the why do they require the coding on paper? And then I had the thought of, oh, it's probably so that you don't just put the code on like a USB drive and plug it in and just boom, there it is. So what's a C grade? All right, 73 to 79%. Or okay. So out of 10 problems on the exam, you'll need to you'll need to get like 7, maybe 8 of them correct. She does, but she gets angry at my grandma because she can't really walk fast enough to use the bathroom. Yeah. It's like the people, like the needle isn't moving. Mm. Mm. Ooh. Yeah, that is rough. Yeah, that is a rough situation. Hmm. Well, I can think of a few things that could affect the situation. One is having sturdier boundaries around sleep, and two is, well, getting proof for the teacher. uh, Yeah, I know that my plan for I already know what my plan for retirement is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working a job until I'm not hireable anymore, and then I'm going to program games until I die. Because I hate just sitting around just watching YouTube all day. Yeah, should set up the save file for the stats. Okay, what all do I even bother with? I feel like I'm cursed for being so aware. I realize most of these adults also don't know what to do. They just have money and the ability to correct the way that other people. Oh yeah, the concept of fuck you got mine. Fucking OBS. Alright, and we're back. Hopefully. Yep, we're back. Hmm. Yeah. So the boomers did the work. Then Gen X, well, kind of took the work for granted. Then the millennials just tried to salvage what they could get. And then the Zoomers are in a shit show. Oh, so I need the stats and stat modifiers. So stat mod and motions. Okay. Yeah, life is rough these days. It it kind of feels like the system is built against us. It used to be that you graduate, like you grow up, finish school, go into like get a job that your family had, and just keep it going. But now it's like you go to school, you learn some shit, you go to college, you hope like you try and do things. Yeah, low charts are amazing. Like whenever I'm having trouble with a particularly crunchy bit of code, I I disregard the comments and just start using flowcharts. Log, log data equals blah. That. And then take this, put there. And then this will just be parts. Well, let's actually can take a moment to consider the effects of jumping into coding without fully understanding the requirements. Oh, talking about language. What the hell does this mean? So, yeah, that's uh those are not the people you want to be around. But yeah, basically, if you jump into code without understanding the requirements, you'll identify it's like you'll write something, you'll test it, you'll see that it doesn't work, you'll look at the requirements, you'll make an adjustment, repeat, and it's just an inefficient way of doing code. Sometimes you get logo sort to work for once, and uh, and you just happen to get the right thing, but then you don't know how to explain it. So you're also in a learning environment, so the process of thinking about how to set up the code is just as important as the code itself. Alright, so I got the save data. That'll add the emotions. Actually, duplicate. Then oh no, all data. Already. In the load data, I'll want the dialog data. I don't need this. I do need to go through the stats and emotions. Well, the stats and mods. Stats. So, emotions. Okay, so for each actor, get the emotions, and then adjust. So for actors in dialog data dot this is a dictionary dot keys. Alright, so once it goes through the different actors, data actors, dot keys. I'll also need to do more emotions. Well, emotes in there's dot keys. then motions, actors, dash, notes equals dialog data, actors, notes. Alright, so this little section right here should go through all the different actors in the dialog data. Oh, I messed that up. Stats. It helps if I use the full thing. So, when I load the data, I'll get all the actors in the stat portion, which is the save of the emotions. Then for each of those actors, I'll go through each of the emotions that are saved for them, and then set the stat for each of those to be equal to the stats in the save file. And if it doesn't have it, then we have a problem, because it should have it in the first place. Alrighty. I might want to modify it to add in the actors if it doesn't have them already, so that I can implement better modding stuff. But I'm not sure. Anywho. And then for the stat mods, log data mods. So I'll be going into this, just basically just this area. So I want to go through all the IDs and get specifically the activated. Programming as a job is a very stressful thing. Actually, I wonder how stressful is our programming jobs? Every successful programmer I've talked to says that in the beginning, thing is the most stressful until you get hold of things. After you hit that, you get used to it and your brain learns to think. Cheers, mate. Oh, you haven't had the programming click. So there'll be a moment when you're programming that you'll eventually have what I believe is called the click. And that's when it just all makes sense. Because naturally, the brain is illogical and efficient. Coding is very logical and at times inefficient. So that disconnect, well, is hard. And then eventually you get the click, and then your brain starts to view everything like programming. It's like, oh, I have this task. It requires these subtasks. Let's get these subtasks done to complete this larger task. But yeah, programming is a stressful job until you click. Then management is the stressful part of the job. Alright. So I want the mods activated and then keys. Hey, 50% is bigger than 25%. I also need, actually, stat log equals blah. For IDs in dialog data mods. And then for the IDs, they did. This guy developed for the PS3, an annoying piece of hardware to make games for. Oh boy. Yeah, it might. Actually, it might be worth uh, asking for his advice. Just being like, I remember some of the horror stories you told me about in the industry. Could you give me some advice so that I don't end up being on the other side of that horror story? or stuff like that. But yeah, one of the biggest problems with the game industry as a as a employee is the crunch. Like they will overwork you. And yeah, that's why I do game development as a hobby or a business that I'm making myself with my friends. But yeah, I think this should uh, do all the data right. Hmm. Oh yeah, I still need to figure out all the stuff that I'm transferring over in the scenes. I'll have to keep track of player health and whether a boss has been defeated or not, I think. Actually, let's make a flow chart. So, scene data transfer. Objective. Get acquired data one to scene two. This is my requirement. So there's dialogue, log, stats, player health, actually player data. So that would be health, uh, mana, stamina, maybe. What else does the player have that would need to transfer over? Hmm. Oh yeah, inventory. There's also the information about uh, entities. Then again, there's the option of having it so that the entities reset on room. Allows XP farming. Or keeps status on. Fix it. For easier backtracking. This allows farming in general, actually. I'm going to choose not to do that and go for this. Alright. And I'm also going to move this down a bit so I can add status effects. Alright. So this just transfers the controller. Let's move this here. See. Add a card. See. Alright, so this just transfers right over. For here, I want the set boxes. Alright. Actually, I'll delete this. Copy this. Paste here. Then move this over. And realize that this wasn't as effective as I was hoping it was going to be. Alright. Alright. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I'm going to transfer here to there. So I'll probably use the scene manager as a central point. We'll probably have like a little spur. Put that here. Actually, I'll put it right here. Actually, the inventory will probably end up being its own system. Because inventories are complex. So instead, just put it direct. Just, I'll still have to, like when I pick things up, I'll have to send things to the inventory. But otherwise, all right, that should handle everything. Alrighty. Hmm. All right. So now I have an idea of what I want to do with the data. So let's actually go to the player. Let's go to the player thing. All right, let's take a look at the components. So right now there's only the health component. Hmm. Alright. So let's set up a function for get player data. And then in the health component, alright, the current health will just be the same. So let's squeeze that. So health component dot uh right, let's have a dictionary of player data equals dictionary. Then player data something. Say health equals current health. Yeah, because the character doesn't have mana or stamina yet, nor status effects. So health is the only thing that's getting transferred at the moment. I'll just have to modify other things in the future to handle the new variables. Alright, and the level manager. Alright, if the player is exiting the scene, well, if the player dies, I'll have to do a scene transfer anyways, but actually I can just do that as a separate thing. Because right now it just queued freeze. Anywho. So, level manager, option, get player data. Okay. bar layer tools dot unready layer dot get layer data. Layer data. Alright. So that'll send it up to the scene. And then the scene will send it up to the level scene manager. And then the scene manager on layer data equals scenes dot get child 0 dot get layer data. Yep. And then that will be scenes get child. This week we have to implement a function with veridic arguments. So this is like a function that can hold any number of parameters. What we have to do is evaluate the input depending on what types you pass in. Okay, now I am curious what that is. Alright, let's take a look at what a veridic argument is. So they accept any number of extra arguments. Okay, that's interesting. It's not compatible. Shit. I need to go to work. I should leave a comment so that I figure out where can remember where I'm going. Okay. Send player data to the scene. Alrighty. Well, that's all I have time for today. Um, Next time I'll continue figuring out how to transfer the player data over. And then I'll probably do some boring stuff and update the dialogue system. But for now, I'm going to raid out. I wonder, is the guy... oh, he's still on. So let's see. Let's raid this guy again. He was pretty chill. Oh, he's getting food right now. We'll surprise him with a raid and voila. I'm surprised that there's only one viewer for the raid right now. Oh well. Actually, it's only one, so have fun, y'all. I'll be heading out. See ya.